Welcome to What Democracy Looks Like in the podcast, hosted by me, Mary Layton. This week, I am re-releasing all the interviews from this podcast in their full-length versions. This is in preparation for the last episode of this season, which will be an interview with Nicola Sherratt on democracy in the United States. Nicola is a dual citizen of the United States and the UK, and you may remember that she was one of my first ever guests, talking about democracy in the UK in Season 1. Well, she is back to round off the end of Season 2, and she's certainly going to have a lot to tell us, because not only does Nicola live in Atlanta, Georgia, this year she volunteered as a poll worker in Fulton County. Yes, that Fulton County, the one where soon-to-be President Trump was indicted for election interference. So look out for my interview with Nicola on democracy in the US coming later in December. In the meantime, please enjoy this episode from September 2022 on what democracy looks like in India. Welcome to This Is What Democracy Looks Like, the podcast hosted by me, Mary Layton. In this podcast, we explore the good, the bad, and the frankly weird side of different democratic systems around the world. Now, today we're going to be hearing about democracy in India with a father and daughter team of my guests Vidhya and Venkat. And as is normal in our conversations, we will be dividing this into two podcast episodes, so make sure you check out the second half. Now, just a note of caution, this episode was actually recorded in September 2022 as part of Season 1. It's taken me a while to publish for reasons that I'm going to explain in a moment, but if you don't care about any of those reasons and you want to get right into the good stuff, feel free to fast forward over the next 7 minutes or so to the start of the interview. I won't be offended because I'm not there listening to it with you, so I don't know. So anyway, let's get going. So this episode is actually dedicated to my dad, Mark Layton, who died this spring in England, and to his friend Sastry Pandya, who passed away from COVID in India. My dad was both a fan of the podcast and a fan of India, so he was really looking forward to me finishing this episode so he could hear it. Sorry, Dad. To be fair, though, part of the reason it's taken so long to finish is because I was very preoccupied during the last months of his illness. The irony, right? Anyway, growing up, I heard a lot about India because my dad was kind of obsessed with the place and had been planning to go there on a pilgrimage his whole life. So what does this have to do with the podcast? Well, going to India was this thing I heard about my entire childhood, all through my life. My dad talking about this thing that was his ambition. At one point in his life, he was going to go and take this big trip. And honestly, I was always skeptical. I didn't think it would ever happen. And if it did happen, I was worried that the real India would never actually live up to the image he had in his head of this amazing spiritual place where people and animals lived in perfect harmony with nature. And I'm exaggerating a little, but this is what my teenage memories of this feeling were like, right? Anyway, a couple of years ago, just after he turned 70 and only a year or two before he received his cancer diagnosis, my dad actually finally made his pilgrimage. He had been waiting his entire life for this moment, and he'd been waiting for the moment to be perfect, and the perfect moment had never came. So he just said, "Screw it, I'm just going to go." And he went and he made a good friend, Sastry, who organised this incredible trip for him. And, it turned out to be everything he had always hoped for and more. It turned out to be one of the highlights of his very full life. He made a wonderful friend, and it was a really important part of his life. And I take two things from this. One is that if there is something you've always wanted to do, just do it. Don't wait until you're 70. It took my dad 50 years to take this pilgrimage he'd been talking his entire life about, right? I'd always wanted to do this podcast, right? And it's not perfect. I've been waiting 10 years to do this. And I've had to take breaks because life happens. But I'm getting to have these amazing conversations and I'm having so much fun doing it. I'm glad that you guys are listening to it and enjoying it too. But there's no such thing as a perfect time. And just do it. Just do it. If there's something you've always wanted to do, just do it now, right? But the second thing I take from my dad's obsession with India is a desire to actually find out more what this country is really like. Like his interest in this country has been the backdrop to my life in many ways. And I could fill a whole other podcast with a series about the weirdness and complexity of white British people's obsession with places like India or Japan or the East in general. But now I have more of a desire to really understand what this real three-dimensional country is like. This place with its own concerns and histories that's quite capable of seeing through and rejecting the condescensions of its former colonizers, or anything like the dreamscape of white Europeans who go there and have their own thing going on. So I explain all this to say that I came to this interview, I understand, with a whole bunch of my personal baggage. And I really hope that didn't get in the way of this conversation. I didn't burden my interviewees with explaining all of this, but I explain it now because I think it's important to be upfront about these things, and I hope that this did not get in the way of the conversation we had. But yeah, so this episode is for my dad and for Sastry. And yeah, and with the message of, if there's something you always wanted to do, go do it, guys. Go do it now. Okay, on with the podcast. Okay, so welcome. Let's get started. I would like to introduce my two wonderful guests. Today we have two generations from the same family.
So I'm Vidhya. I'm a software engineer in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
I live in San Jose. I'm 33 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm from the southern part of India. I'm from a city called Chennai in India.
Okay, yep.
And in India, where you come from is a big deal because it's such a huge country, and there are people from different parts of the country, different states who speak different languages. And I speak Tamil, which is my mother tongue.
Yep.
So that's it about me. So I've been living here in the Bay Area for the last about 11 years, 10 to 11 years.
Ah, right, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So I've lived in India for 21 years of my life, and then I moved to the US. I did my master's in the East Coast, and then I found a job in the Bay Area, and I've been here since.
Ah, right, okay. And here in the US, are you a joint citizen? Are you able to vote here?
No, I'm not. I'm still a visitor in this country, and we're still going through the immigration process, which is,
of course,
a very lengthy process for people from India.
Oh my goodness, I can only imagine. I'm sorry. Well, I've heard about it from people, and I know it takes a really long time. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And Venkat, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Venkat Subramanian. I'm a chemical engineer. I come from southern part of India, of course, as Vidhya told. I've been living in Chennai since 1985.
1985, right?
Yeah, but I was born down south in India, and I lived the first 21 years in a town, village, in a rural setup, basically.
Okay, yeah.
Then I took up my first job in Mumbai, a big city in India. Then I came down to Chennai. I come from probably engineering society, basically. That's what I would like to call myself, yes.
Yeah.
In Chennai, of course, it's a big city. It has a population of 4 million now, yes.
Oh, wow, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big city, yes. Cultural center of India. And I've been following politics since 1967. In those days, we used to watch radio or, you get news only. Once in few hours. But I've been having some interest in politics in the sense that I follow. It's not that I'm directly involved in politics. It's a good subject to talk about, yes. Democracy, because I think everybody is now talking of, is there democracy in US now? Whether we continue to have democracy in US, even in US.
Yeah.
But then probably we have to define democracy. Probably at one time they talked about the democracy is something of the people, by the people, for the people. And yes, it is of the people, for the people, but then by the politicians, as you can probably say now, because there is a separate class that is now called political class. And they probably have only that as a profession in India now. Politicians have that as the only profession.
Oh, okay.
So that's about me. I'm 66 years old now. I'm retired. Yes, I'm enjoying my retired life. I spent probably 4 or 5 months in US. I'm visiting here every year now for the last 5, 6 years. Yes.
Yeah. But most of the time you live back home? That's your home base?
Yes, in Chennai. Yes. Most of the times in Chennai.
Okay, fantastic. Well, this is going to be interesting because you seem to have both a longer term perspective, but also if you're spending 5 months of the year here in the US as well as back home, I guess you probably have seen quite a bit of the comparison as well. Whereas Vidhya, you've been living here, so you have that different kind of perspective too. Okay, well, thank you both. One of the things I want to think about before we even start, because we're going to start getting into, so what is the basic organization? What's the difference between the president and prime minister? Is there any specific big issue happening right now in India, like an election or something else that people are really talking about that we should keep in mind while we're talking?
There are a few issues that are ongoing, but I mean, I don't know if they should be front and center of this podcast. It's just internal politics, I think, to a great extent. I'm not, as interested and as, as keen on politics as my dad is. So he probably has, some other.
Yeah. That's totally fine. That's totally fine.
As far as I'm concerned, it's quite normal. It's quite normal. Like, politics in India, like in everywhere else in the world, is a bit polarized now. That's what I would say.
Okay.
That is the thing. India is no exception there. Politics is polarized, too polarized a bit.
Yeah. Let's get into some of the basics. So what is the basic organization? I know this is a really huge question. I've noticed with lots of the interviews I've done with people in Latin America, they seem to have a similar system to the US in that it's an upper and lower house, often called Congress, and usually something similar like House of Representatives. What's the system in India? What do you call the different levels of the government?
So for us, it's very similar to the UK, I believe. So we have the Prime Minister who, holds the highest office, who's in charge of things. But the President is the ceremonial head of state.
Okay, right.
And we also have, a couple of houses, we have the Lok Sabha, which is where members are elected to by the people. And then we have the Rajya Sabha, which is like the state, which is the upper house and the lower house, if you will have it.
Yeah.
And we have general elections every 5 years. Parliamentary elections. And we also have elections for the state legislative assemblies, to which the chief ministers are elected for every state. So that's the general system. So the chief minister holds the highest office in the state in India. And there is a governor who is similar to the president, who's the ceremonial head of the state.
Okay, yeah.
So that's kind of a short, overview of, how things work. I think my dad can go into more details.
Well, I was wondering, both houses, are all the members elected?
So for the Lok Sabha, yes, they are. For the Rajya Sabha, they are, not all of them are elected. Is that right?
Oh, okay.
Can I just interrupt?
Please.
The Lok Sabha, the lower house, they're elected directly by the people.
Okay.
The Rajya Sabha members are elected by the state MLAs or state, state senators or state representatives.
Okay, yeah.
Each state, they have their own, government. Now they have elected representatives. Those representatives, they're members of Rajya Sabha from each state.
Okay.
So India has 25 states and 8 union territories. Just to give you an idea, you're talking of a 1.4, 1.5 billion population, of which maybe 1 billion nearly exercise their voting. They are eligible to vote.
Yeah.
Maybe 70% of them vote in every election. We have elections not only for the parliament, probably we have to talk about the election at even rural level. We have village election, panchayat elections, municipality elections.
Yeah.
which state decides, and then state elections. Then you have the central or, the union elections.
The national ones, yeah.
Yeah, national one. As Vidya explained, we have a lower house, which is Lok Sabha. We have 539 seats now, yes.
Okay, yeah.
And different states. India, as I said, 25 states plus 8 union territories. And each state, depending on the population, they have a number of parliamentary constituencies.
So I have a bunch of questions now. Yes. My first one being, when you vote in the national elections, do you vote for the Prime Minister or do you vote for the Prime Minister's party? So is it more similar to the British or the American system?
It's not the American system. It's a British system. We vote for the candidates who represent the party.
The party,
Then the party MPs elect the Prime Minister.
Okay.
But the party normally announces the Prime Minister candidate.
Yeah.
Because by and large, it's still the individuals who run the show, in the sense that people know the Prime Minister.
So you may have heard that in the UK, we now have this situation where we have Liz Truss, who is somebody who's very unpopular, but she, for instance, has become Prime Minister without having an election, because the last election we vote for the Conservatives, and then it doesn't matter, they can decide who the head is.
Yeah.
Would you ever have a similar situation in India where you had voted for a party and then they changed their leader halfway through their term?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It had happened many times earlier.
Okay.
When we had a sort of a coalition government. It happens when one party doesn't have, the majority.
Yeah.
We had that sort of a system running for some time. At that time, you have a lot of confusion,
Yeah.
Then you have the prime ministers changing, yes. Yeah. But now it's a more or less steady, yes.
Okay.
And I also want to point out in the recent past, you don't always know who the prime minister is going to be. So, for example, a couple of general elections back, when the Congress had the majority of votes, we thought Sonia Gandhi, who's the daughter-in-law of Indira Gandhi, we thought she was going to be the prime minister. But then it was decided that Manmohan Singh, an alternate candidate, would be the prime minister. So there are surprises that way. You don't always know.
So tell me how, you said there was one party, the Congress Party, I think you said, that had been in power for 50 years. How many parties are there now?
There are, on paper, probably 7, 8 national parties. But Congress and BJP now, they are the two strong national parties because they have a good presence in most of the states. Congress in all the states. BJP has more presence in North India than in South India, but it's slowly coming up.
So I'm always interested, Vidya, when I first came to the US, something that I found strange was that there were these political dynasties, like the Bush Senior, Bush Junior, and then the Clintons and so on. I'm wondering what your perspective is, because it sounds like a similar thing happened in India as well.
Yeah, in India, so my perspective is slightly different. I actually think India is a lot about dynasty politics.
Interesting, yeah.
See, even in our state, the current chief minister is the son of an ex-chief minister and so on.
Right,
so,
yeah.
In India. But in the US, when I look at the Bushes and the Clintons, I mean, yeah, to an extent, that can be called dynasty politics, but I'm somebody who's read a lot about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton in parallel, and I find it very fascinating that they are very capable people. In my opinion, it's not just handed over to them.
Okay,
at least to me, my opinion is that in the US, you work for it.
Okay,
people are capable, and it so happens that they belong to the same family. Doesn't mean that
interesting.
They didn't earn it.
Yeah.
But in India, on the other hand, I feel like things are just handed over generation to generation. That's my view, at least.
Interesting. Well, tell me more about that and how people respond to that.
No, let me put it this way. In politics, whether it is in US or in India, there are two things. One is the money.
Of course, yes.
One is money. Then other thing is that you work for it for a long time, and then you come to power based on your history of doing something for the country.
Yeah.
Now, even in probably US, it's money which plays a big part.
Of course.
There's no question about it. And world over, as I see it, in the last decade or so, people have lost their interest in the politicians. That is the so-called professional politicians.
I see.
People who come to politics and then they remain in politics and then they try to make something out of that politics.
I see.
When in the good old days, when you think why people come to politics is they want to serve the people. And in our state in Tamil Nadu, there was a chief minister who had not gone to school, but he was a chief minister who worked for the people. And he didn't have any time for his family or anything. He didn't make any money or anything. He worked for the people. He was the first one to introduce midday meals in the schools way back in 1965 or whatever it is. So that people, children can come to school, because we have a lot of poor people, and then they can't come to school unless they have a good food. So the family sends them to work. So in order to make them come to school, he said, we'll give food in the school. So that sort of people were there in a good old days. They are not there now. So whether it is US or India, if we say that, okay, one is money, if you have money, then you are in politics. In India, the same thing happens. People in money come to politics and they think that they spend money to win election. And then they think their job is to take that money back.
Right. Well, I'm hearing two things now. I'm hearing on the one side, Vidhya is saying that sometimes there are situations where you're just handed a political position because you're the son or the daughter or the niece or the nephew. And on the other, a kind of ideal situation that existed in the past where people worked for it and were elected based on what they did. So is it that things have changed, or is it that both these things exist at the same time?
I think both these things exist at the same time. So in my opinion, the ruling party is a bit more about, people who've kind of earned their position. At least like they don't come from a family of politicians.
Yeah.
People who, whatever their agenda is, they're still not,
right.
Like if you see the opposition, which is the Congress, the president is Sonia Gandhi, who's the daughter-in-law of, very famous political family in India, right? And Rahul Gandhi, he is again the son of Sonia Gandhi. So it's the Gandhi family that has predominantly dominated the Congress party.
Right.
And Rahul Gandhi, a lot of people, have questions about, his ability to, lead the party, but he's still there because he's
the importance of that name. Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking as we're talking about this that it was recently the 75th anniversary of independence. Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember when I talked to people about democracy in Latin America, I'm not saying it's the same, but in a similar sort of vein, they would say to me, the reason people take democracy so seriously is because they have the memory of having been in a dictatorship, and you take democracy very seriously when your democracy is young. I wonder if you see something similar. I mean, Venkat, you seem to be talking about the idealized days in the 60s and 70s. Was there a sense of that democracy has become corrupted because we no longer care about it? We take it for granted now.
No, one thing is that democracy is becoming corrupted because people are after power, basically. That's one. But leaving that aside, democracy, in my opinion, is very strong in India, basically because people, vote for some party with some good intention. And then if they don't deliver, then they vote for somebody else in the next election. So it's not that in India, the same party comes to power the next time around.
I see.
Now, you can say that, okay, they have made so much of fortune in, they have not done much for the people. But people have that power to change. For example, Indira Gandhi declared emergency. People didn't like it. Then they voted her out in the next election.
Yeah.
Okay. If you see, say, communists ruled in 2 states, in West Bengal, 5 terms, 6 terms, 30 years under communist rule. But now communists have gone out.
Right.
Very few such instances.
Okay.
And if you have a strong and good leader, then they are given opportunities again and again.
Okay.
One thing I missed out is that dictatorship is never in India. Because we have the systems in such a way that that is not going to be easy in India. Maybe it can happen in US. I don't know really.
That's the question.
But India, till something happens like January 6th, I don't think India is there yet. It's not going to be there.
I was thinking more in terms of having the memory of not having been able to vote. In the Indian case because of colonialism, in the Latin American case because of they had a dictatorship,
But our democracy, in my opinion, is so strong in the sense that they vote in, as I said, village panchayat, they vote in state elections. The thing is that the corruption, the money played there, and then the family politics. But then the thing is that what happens is when a first generation politician makes money, then his family people are more exposed to the people. So people are looking for some face which is known.
I see.
Okay, so that family has money and then they have a known face, so they get again elected. That's how it goes. And then, of course, we have various other factors in India because everybody starts a party if he has some following. And then they try to, form some alliance and then try to see if they can share power. That's how it goes. Because if you share power, if you have power, you can make something. That's a thing. But of late, I understand a lot of youngsters are coming into politics. A lot of people who have worked in professional areas like, administration, like police, administration service, people in government jobs. They resign the jobs and then they come to politics.
I see.
That's happening in India. But of late also the nationalistic feeling is there.
Yes,
People want to see India as a superpower. Now they say it is economically, it's in the 5th place, moving ahead of UK now. Definitely democracy is vibrant in India, no question about it.
So Vidhya, I'm seeing you smiling. I'm wondering if you're agreeing with everything your dad is saying. So I want to give you an opportunity.
Sure. Yes, I do think democracy is thriving in India, and especially like just going back to when I was growing up, right? I grew up in India, and we have neighbors where democracy hasn't really done that well, right? You have Pakistan that goes under army dictatorship every now and then. I mean, it doesn't have a strong democracy, and then there is China on the other hand. Where it's it's the Communist Party, right? And then you have Afghanistan, which has its share of problems, right? And Sri Lanka is has been under civil war for a very long time. And in that region, we feel like India has done really well despite its neighbors not being in a good shape. And
interesting. Yeah. So it's kind of the comparison to everything that's around. It feels like a strong.
It's in my opinion. Sorry to interrupt. It's my opinion. It's the nature of the people there. The thing is that people may complain, but they just go about their job. They may think that I have not got this, I have not got that, but it doesn't matter. Somebody is making money. That's okay. As far as I'm concerned, let me go with my life. So, okay, when I get an opportunity to vote, I will vote. That's it.
Yeah. So I'm interested in, we've mentioned a couple of times about state elections, and I'm trying to sort of get an idea of what the relationship between the states and the national politics. What's that relationship between, like, as a federal system? Is it more like the US where they're very, very separate and there's this constant battle? Or is it more like I learned about Mexico where it's much more integrated?
I think it's more separate, like in US. But it's not separate in US because it's the same parties which fight.
Yeah.
What happens in India is that the two major parties, Congress and BJP, they fight directly only in out of 25 states, maybe 10 states.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah.
In the remaining states, probably there are other players, the regional players. Regional players. Now, Congress and the BJP have to form an alliance with one of the regional players and then try to,
Interesting.
that's how it is.
That makes sense of something I was wondering, because you were talking about both there being lots of parties and coalitions, but also one party having ruled for 50 years and the other one having ruled for 9 years. So it's that in some of the states there are small regional parties and the main two national parties have to form coalitions with them.
Exactly.
And does that change, or is it that only ever certain states are sort of like involved in that coalition building?
What has happened is Congress dominated early so much. There was no other major party for a long, long time. Only when Indira Gandhi lost the election, or she introduced emergency, then, some of the opposition parties, which were so small, they came together to form a coalition. They, in fact, joined together to start a new party.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And they ruled for only a couple of years. And then because they were all different, ideology and things like that, it collapsed. And then Indira Gandhi came back.
Okay.
Out of that, at that time, that BJP was one in that. The BJP, when they came out, they said, okay, now we will not join. We will try to strengthen our organization. And that's how they went about. Probably in 1980s, they had probably 10 seats in the parliament. And now they have 300 seats.
Right.
So in 25 years, they grew like, they took the government and they worked for it.
Yeah. Because I know in the US there's often a lot of contention between the federal government and the states, the individual states. And I was wondering if that was the case in India as well.
Only in US I find that probably a number of times presidents are elected, presidents who don't get popular vote, they get elected as president.
Yes.
It's an irony in the sense that the majority of the people have voted not for this man, or you can say against this man.
Yeah, exactly.
There's somebody whom they wanted to become president, but then somebody else becomes president, and the system probably is not all that good.
Well, yes, I would agree with you.
That means democracy, what we call, is not one.
Yeah, exactly.
There are different forms of democracy. And then, okay, this has something in it to ensure that all states have equal power or some such thing. But then a democracy, when you say democracy, it's people, overall people, majority of people.
Exactly.
So the majority thing is not happening in US because they have some sort of a system by which
it's a very strange system that no one really understands. Yes.
And then nobody wants to talk about it or try to address it.
So yes, I mean the 2016 general elections, right? We all know what happened in the US, right? I think a lot of us were looking in disbelief at the results, and because that's when I heard for the first time about electoral college.
Me too, right? Yeah,
I hadn't known about that, and it was very surprising. And as my dad points out, does that really mean this is a democracy? Because the majority of the people did not vote for somebody, but it is what the system is here.
Yeah.
So, and going back to, what we were talking about in India, right? The relationship between the state and the center.
Yes.
So just wanted to add that, in the last general election, the ruling party actually did not need the coalition, to form their government.
Oh, okay.
They had the, majority, they had the mandate of the people all by themselves. But interestingly, the state that we come from, the state of Tamil Nadu, the ruling the BJP, which is the ruling party of India, has never had a stronghold there.
Oh, interesting.
They've never had a strong presence there. So it's just a party in the state that dominates. So in that sense, I found the two to be fairly disconnected.
Interesting.
Because I've closely followed the politics of my state only, and I haven't spent a lot of time looking at what's happening in other states. So I've always looked at them as fairly disconnected. Whereas in the US, because the parties are the same, right? You just have those two parties. I feel it's a lot more connected there.
My observation towards that is that when the BJP doesn't win seats from Tamil Nadu, still when they formed the government, they had probably 2-3 ministers from Tamil Nadu.
Sure.
You want to give representation to the areas where they have not voted for the ruling party, but looking at future. Okay, if we make some people ministers from that area, maybe that will influence the people to vote for that ruling party next time.
Yeah, that also suggests to me that you can be a voter and your focus can really be on your own state. And there's enough power within the state to make decisions about your life that, in a sense, you can almost ignore some of the federal stuff, which suggests that the state level has a big influence on what happens in your life and the kind of things that can get done, as opposed to it just being a symbolic kind of boundary. Does that, I thinking particularly of what Vidya said, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To an extent, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So thinking of symbolic things, tell me a little bit about the president and the relationship between the president and the prime minister. So the way you described it before, it reminded me, honestly, of the Queen, whose role is just to sign things and to be there to be the official head, but actually to have no power. Can you tell me a little bit about how you see it?
I see it pretty much the same way.
The same way? Yeah.
Yeah, just a ceremonial head, some kind of a gatekeeper, but I mean, it's just a figurehead of the state. I don't see the president having any power.
Any real power, yeah. I noticed when I was reading that the current president, she was a woman for a start.
Yes.
And she was a woman from one of the indigenous groups, is that correct? Or tribal groups, I think it was described in English. Yeah. Is that something that does have important symbolic power?
Does that have importance?
Yes, yeah.
It does, yes. Yeah. The thing is, the president, even though the parliament, makes the laws or whatever is that, it has to be signed by the president for it to become a law.
Okay.
Now, in case, some ruling party, they have absolute majority, they can push certain things, and then opposition are asking so many questions, they don't get enough explanations, and it's not... they want some modification, ruling party, because they have a brutal majority. They vote party-wise, and then they send that thing to the president for signature. The president has a right to send it back to the parliament,
and do they
to show her concern that, look, you evolve consensus, modify this thing, and then see that everybody accepts something, and then bring it to me. President has the power to do that.
But if she does, do they use that power?
Sometimes, not all the times.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they use. But president has that power.
Okay. Yeah. So it exists, yeah.
It exists, yes. Some people have done it in the past. Yes.
So I want to move on to the question of how you actually vote, because I must say I'm fascinated by the idea of how you get so many people in such a large country to actually physically vote. Walk me through that process. Well, first of all, is it compulsory to vote in India? Do you have to vote?
It is not compulsory to vote. So the way we vote in India is, so we have a school right by our home. We just walk to that school, and then we don't write. It's all an electronic system.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, and then we vote for a candidate from a local party, and then we get back. So it's you form a huge queue outside that school.
Yeah.
On the day of the election, and that's how it happens.
And how long have you had electronic voting?
Since 85.
Since 85, right? A long time. Interesting. And then who counts the votes? What happens to it? Do you know what happens to it?
Can I just explain the process?
Yeah, please.
The election process is, we have an election commission.
Okay.
Which is a constitutional authority. We have a chief election commissioner appointed by the government, who is basically a retired IAS officer, the administrative side of that, bureaucrat or whatever you call them. 80s, I think in the 80s, they made, there was one good chief officer who made these parties, the parties felt that they have more power, so we had to do something. And then they said, we'll appoint 2 more electoral officers.
Okay, right.
So there are 3 now, 1 chief and 2. So they decide anything by, who 2 people decide.
Right.
Now, then you have a director general, a big secretariat for that, and then they once they announce the date, then they give some time for the parties or the candidates to file the nominations. And once the nominations are accepted, just before that, the model code of conduct comes into being, and then the sitting government cannot announce any policy changes which impacts the elections, like that sort of a thing. And then I think within 3 weeks, then 3 weeks time something is that given for them to, to go and solicit votes. They conduct public meetings.
They only have 3 weeks. Wow.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
That sounds glorious.
Maybe 2
only
weeks.
3 weeks of campaigning.
Yes, 2 to 3 weeks. That's it.
Yeah.
And then, see, in a public election in a country like that, where maybe 500, 600 million people vote,
right.
It's held probably in 7-8 stages.
Oh, okay.
For maybe 5-6 weeks.
Oh, right. So it's not like
because you had to mobilize the police and the administrative machinery, and you can't do it everything at a time. And then to monitor. So it is held over a period of 6 weeks. So in some states, some 3 weeks, and then some other states like that it goes. And then they collect these voting machines that is secured in a place, sealed one, and then they announce a date for counting the votes.
Right.
And on that date they count, and then they announce the results as and when each constituency is. That's how it is.
So people can vote over a really long period, but you don't announce the results to the end. So what has the way people have previously voted doesn't.
No, it's not over a long period. It's different. The places, the voting days are only 1 day.
Right. But across the entire country.
Yes. Across the country, it takes
It takes a long time. So who is it? So you vote on the voting machine, and then the voting machine is secured and protected by local police? Is that the case?
Yeah.
The local police?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not local, central police it should be.
Central police, okay.
That's why, elections are held over a period of long time.
Because it takes a long time to move them.
Yes.
And then, so they could potentially be guarding the voting machines for several weeks. Is that something people trust? Is there any controversy around that?
The thing is that the major parties, if they lose, they'll make comment that this is, set up or something like that. But nothing is proven like that.
Okay.
And the election commission, before each election, they demonstrate how the electronic voting machine, how it works, and ask the political parties, if you want, you can see whether you can do something to make it corrupt or something like that. But political parties, they don't go there.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, but if they lose power, then they will say that.
Then they can test it.
Yeah, they move on. So I just want to make a distinction that it's not like how it is in the US, where we had one candidate just, trying to make a statement that the election was stolen, but we don't have that in India, despite the fact that there's a lot of disagreement, and some people might be bitter losers, but we recently witnessed it in the US, right, where we had the candidate say that the election was stolen. We had a lot of party
dispute is still going on.
A lot of people who it's still going on. There are a lot of people are campaigning based on that even now,
exactly.
Right? So which is really bizarre, because that does not happen in India. So we have not seen that happen in India.
Well, Vidhya, the reason I'm interested in that is because it seems like there is potential for people to question it, because you don't necessarily. When I've talked to people in different countries about the act of voting with paper, so in several South American countries, the votes are counted immediately at the table, and there's a sense of trust by having such simple technology and being able to really see it. You could see a piece of paper and there's a pencil mark on it. But with a voting machine, it's like you put it into the machine and then who knows where it goes. But then particularly when you're telling me that then those machines and that data sort of sits around for several weeks. It's surprising to me that there is such a strong sense of trust in it. Not that that trust is misplaced, but that's like, why do you think that people trust it?
Yeah, to me, there are some people who still question it. I wouldn't say that there is, 100% trust, and there are people who would say that the election was rigged. But by and large, people have faith in the election commission.
Yeah,
they have faith in our democracy, and they know that even the party that loses at some point, they do concede defeat, and they try to work on how to improve in the next election.
Right.
So I wouldn't say there's 100% trust in everything, but by and large, the majority of the population trusts the processes in place, trust the body in charge of conducting the elections. At least that's the sense that I always got while I was living in India.
And do average people get involved in the process, like as election officials, at the school hall level, for instance?
Yeah, they do. Average people do get a chance to get involved.
Yeah.
In the good old days, before the advent of this electronic voting machines, they used to say that there were a lot of booth capturings, at remote places. And then some local powerful people probably will send some people and then try to put votes in their names and try to, that sort of a thing used to happen in the good old days in rural areas. What's happened now is that I think the Election Commission has increased the protection now. More police is involved. And then the parties become active. In any election booth, you have the candidate's representative to be present and monitor what's happening there.
Right. Yes,
so that is another thing. And if there is anything, he has to object then and there. There's something wrong is happening or something like that. So these things have come in now. So the election is more authentic. People feel that, okay, things are check and balance, and then no more people can just simply, vote on somebody's behalf and then get away with that. One thing that I forgot to inform about this is, national parties are there, but if you see when you go to the voting booth, anybody can stand in the election. So you will see for one seat, maybe on average, 20 people are contesting.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And probably some years back, somebody moved public interest of this thing. There's also, they have included one, none of the above.
Oh, okay.
Nota,
right.
Nota, nota. So people can, so that tells that, that there were some villages, they were not happy with whichever party comes forward. Our situation remains the same. So the village chief has told the people, you don't vote for anybody, you put nota. None of the above.
Right.
Then, they get the information that these people, there is something wrong. They are not happy.
Yeah.
So that is also there now. In every election, people have the opportunity to say, none of these candidates I'm interested.
That's super interesting. That's because often,
it's a very, very interesting thing.
Yeah. I mean, when people talk about the number of people who vote, right, and there's always that question of people who don't vote. Is it because they're lazy and apathetic, or is it because they're making a statement like none of the above?
Exactly.
And if you put the box in, you can start to answer that question.
Exactly.
But I just wanted to add one point.
Please.
Anecdotally, based on what I've heard around growing up. So we have some parties which kind of target some people who aren't really well off, and they're like, if you vote for us in this election, we'll give you a free TV. We'll give you some free electronics. And then there are people who are motivated that way, and they go vote for. They have those kind of parties kind of get huge turnouts from people who they promise goods to. So that happens as well.
Yeah, they promise stuff.
The freebies.
Freebies, exactly.
We call it freebies.
But then how do they know that people actually vote for them?
What's happening is, once one party announces that we will give the people who are below poverty line free TV, then the other party also includes it in its manifesto.
Okay.
We will give a free bicycle. That's how it goes, and it has gone so much so now. Somebody has filed a petition in the court, and court has asked the government, why are you doing this?
You're not allowed to
can we
anymore.
stop in some way from political parties declaring freebies like this? It's in the court now. We'll have to wait and see.
But theoretically, if your vote is anonymous, you could take the free TV and the free bicycle and then vote for whoever you wanted.
You can.
So, yeah.
But people are generally, people try to be honest, try to be loyal. So it's just,
Yeah. Is there a sense that when you say loyalty, do people vote? Is it like, the owner of a company will say to all the employees, hey, you should all go and vote for this person, and they actually do that? Is that the case?
Not the owner of a company, but
okay.
If the party promises,
the
certain
party, I see,
certain freebies to certain section of society or certain group of people, they are more likely, they're more likely to go ahead and vote for that party.
I see. Yeah. So I had a different kind of idea on my head, but yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah. Is it actually easy for people to vote? Is it is the day a national holiday? Do you get time off to vote? Physically, is it possible to get to the voting station?
So voting stations are typically very close to where you live. So it is easy to get to the voting station. I don't think it's a holiday. At least I don't have a memory of it being a holiday when I was growing up. I don't know if anything has changed since, but I mean, you can always, put in a word at your workplace and say, hey, I got to go and vote. And, people do that all the time.
Yeah. So it's not like it's a difficult thing to actually go and vote. Yeah.
Like she said, you have voting booth for every few thousands of people, something like that. And then it's definitely not a holiday, but then companies are asked to give some time for employees to go and vote.
Yeah.
But again, it depends, if the employees travel 2 hours and then they cannot vote in any booth.
Right.
Like if you live in a particular area, then nearby booth only you can vote.
And so, do you have to show an ID, or how do you prove that you're able to vote in that particular place?
Yeah, so you have, you are a registered voter. Not everybody can vote. You have to be a registered voter to vote.
Okay, yeah.
And you have to have an ID. So we have something called the Aadhaar card now in India, which is proof that you are a citizen of India and you're allowed to vote.
Was that the one that was kind of controversial a couple of years ago? The citizenship law. I'm thinking of things that were headlines I read a few years ago.
Biometrics are involved there, yes.
Oh, biometrics involved, yeah.
There is a voter ID card.
Okay.
And if you have registered, you will get an voter ID card. And the process is quite simple because people come for, door-to-door, election commission send people to check how many members of the family are living here and this. So they have the data. And then they publish the data, and then you can go and correct if your name is not there. They will display somewhere. So these things are there. Earlier, we had what is called a ration card, which was the identity card for a family. And with that, you can go and vote. But later on, they have introduced voter ID card also. Yeah, but it is not that you have to have voter ID card to go and vote. If you have another ration card, or as Vidhya said, Aadhaar card now. Aadhaar, they brought Aadhaar with the biometrics so that it can be linked to a bank account, that, so that everything under one identity, that sort of a thing. It's still an ongoing thing, yes. But the parties, they also get the voter list. So when you go with some ID, they will tell you, okay, this is your this thing, and then they will give you a slip with the voter ID number there. So with that, you should be able to go and vote. Once you have the photo, they will check and identify. Or if you have Aadhaar card, that sort of a thing, that electoral officer, they'll identify that is the right person, and then you will be allowed to vote.
So it's people are actively coming to your house to register you, and then to put you on. So it's not, the impetus is not on you to try and get the right to vote. People are seeking you out, and the political parties are also trying to make sure that people are on that.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So it sounds a lot easier than in the US, for instance. That there's less barriers in place. What age can you vote from in India?
You can vote from
18.
when you're 18.
From 18, yeah.
18.
Yeah. Okay, well...
but you can stand for election 25.
From
Plus.
25, yeah. No, that's really interesting. Yeah, I'm always fascinated by how it's really different in different parts of the world. So we've talked about how it seems like there's quite a lot of trust in the process. But in terms of how people perceive the politicians, what is it that people in India complain about when it comes to their politicians? What do you consider a scandal? What would be the kind of thing that would force somebody to resign?
Corruption in general, like misusing your power, just, gaining a lot of, wealth when, as politicians, the salaries are pretty, you're not supposed to, live a lavish lifestyle if you're a politician. You're working for the people. You're not, making those huge salaries that businessmen make.
Yeah.
And and we see a lot of, politicians who seem to have amassed a lot of wealth and we don't know from where, right? So that's one thing that, people are getting frustrated with these days. You have so many people living below poverty line in India, right? And you don't want, people to just accumulate wealth, illegally, and, take away what, you need to be giving to those people who really need it.
Yeah.
So that's something that's very frustrating for the average citizen in India, and which is why a lot of people now are getting interested in politics. They want to become politicians. So a lot of young people, they want to reform the political system, right? They want to reform. They don't want corruption in India anymore. So
yeah. Do you feel like they're when people think about corruption, you're saying that younger people are trying to reform it, but is it something that people are generally cynical about and just assume will always be there?
So, I used to think, when I was probably in, fifth grade or sixth grade, I used to think people were generally cynical about it. I would actually put my father's generation as, the generation of people who are generally cynical about politicians. But I would put my generation as people who are trying to step up and, do something. And who are trying to get involved in politics. Not me, but a lot of people in my generation. I feel like people want to be politicians now. So, when I was growing up and somebody said, I want to be a politician, people would look at him and say, are you sure? I mean, the politicians aren't role models. They are not great people. But now I think that perception is changing.
Yeah, interesting. That's really interesting. What do you think has made people have more hope in your generation that something could change?
I think awareness in general. And to me, when I was growing up, I used to watch these news channels and I used to watch debates. I remember watching this debate of John Kerry and George Bush when I was in school in India. And I was like, this is so cool. People come and they talk and they have, they're not just, there's no mudslinging. People are having an educated conversation about policies. People are, trying to do the best for their country. Now, how I wish this would be the case in my country where, most of the, campaigning is about mudslinging, about, corruption allegations. And I always wish that would change. It hasn't changed much, to be honest, since I was in the country. And I think a lot of young people, basically the internet and, more awareness to, political systems like the US. Of course, the US has changed a lot since, that debate. But I think exposure to, different countries and, how things are working in different countries, I'd probably say is one of the reasons why things are changing.
Yeah.
If you look at, the way things have come, there were times when there was a railway accident and railway minister resigned, taking the moral responsibility. That is in 1966.
Mm-hmm.
So in those days, they take things seriously, and then if anything happened in their ministry or something, people will not hesitate to resign.
Right, right.
Today, things are a bit different. I think the politicians are too thick-skinned now, and then they are not going to leave their power. They won't take responsibility for anything. They won't even admit their, this one these days, unless the party kicks them out.
Right, right.
And party also, when somebody is a minister, because they may have some group, and then they will have to weigh that thing, how far it will go if we make him to resign. And if it's very serious, that a lot of people talk about it, major parties will take the decisions, but not smaller parties.
Yeah,
the smaller parties, it doesn't matter. And it happened like this. One of the party official spokesperson probably talked something about prophet, and this made a big in a debate, in a TV debate.
The prophet,
yes,
the Muslim
yes,
prophet.
yes.
Yeah.
Made some criticism, and then it became a big issue. And they said some country is talking, they were talking how this, and then the party suspended that person for, removed that from the position. That's it.
Right.
That's a small thing.
Yeah.
But otherwise, these days, politicians, they go scot-free. It's not to bring them to books. It's not that easy unless the party takes a final decision. The individuals on their own, they don't do anything.
Well, we talked before, and you talked about how, when a party does something and the people don't agree with it, they feel very free to vote them out the next time around. But is there a way that people get involved and voice their opinion outside of electing? Is there a tradition of strikes, of demonstrations?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The present government, BJP government, brought change in the agricultural policy.
Yeah.
Which affected certain people in certain states.
Yeah.
And those states, agriculture is guided by the opposition parties, which supported them. They made so much of a ruckus that the government had to go back.
Had to change course.
Even though a lot of experts said it's the right thing to do. There were certain sections of the population who lose their income, middlemen who lose their money. So they were against this policy, and they succeeded in blocking that. Even this government, which had the majority, the Prime Minister announced in the Parliament that, okay, we will put it on hold.
Because it was so unpopular.
Yes. Because there are some people raising consciousness. They tried for 3-4 months trying to educate people and trying to tell them how it's good for the people who really do the agriculture. But the middlemen who buy and sell the agricultural products, that person, he didn't want to lose his money there. And that
very
made a good policy.
It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, because we thought that was really good for the farmers, but it's just that they weren't, educated enough. That's what the government said when they, decided to, go back on their stance of passing those laws. What they said was, we are sorry that we weren't able to educate you enough that, this should have been very beneficial for you. We couldn't educate you enough. So that was very unfortunate.
But is there a way of seeing that as a positive thing in the sense of people object to something and they protest?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that way you can take heart from it and see that, people didn't want it. The government said, okay,
we'll
you don't want it. So,
Yeah.
India, in my opinion, is one place where you can talk anything. It's a free society. You have hundreds of newspapers, hundreds of magazines, and lots of TV channels. TV channels owned by parties and politicians, and they will, everybody does everything there. There's no, contrary to what people think, there is no this. It's a free country. Yeah.
Okay, I'm
I think I
some
disagree.
strong reactions here.
No, absolutely
I think India is free compared to a lot of other countries we know in the region. A lot of other countries. Yes. It's definitely not free. It's not as free as the US for sure. I mean, you say something, you worry about a lot of things. You don't really. I mean, you do have freedom of speech to an extent. Yeah. But what if somebody comes and arrests you tomorrow because you said something about the ruling party official? So that's the concern. That doesn't happen in the United States.
No. It doesn't happen with ruling party or something like that. It can happen with respect to religions, not parties. No.
Interesting.
You say anything to any party.
I disagree. I disagree.
Ruling parties don't do anything like that. They can probably say something more about the other person who is trying to say something, but the religious sentiments probably that's something.
Yeah, but we've seen that in our own state, like in the state of Tamil Nadu in India. So we had this very famous politician called Jayalalitha. She was, I mean, for me, I used to be in awe of her. She was the chief minister, and she ruled with an iron fist. People looked up to her, but she also was very intolerant of criticism. Like if somebody criticized her, they might lose their job.
Interesting.
So that was something that was, I mean, very frequently, I mean, that's something that is no secret, right? We've seen that a lot in India. So, I mean, I wouldn't say India has, freedom of speech. You say what you want, but you have to face the consequences. It doesn't go well with, certain section of people.
James, FBI director loses job here because somebody doesn't like him. It's something like that. One-off doesn't make, in my opinion,
okay.
One-off is okay.
It's not one-off in my opinion, but I mean, we can disagree on this.
You can't any more examples of that. This is strong example, okay, but these are all one-off cases. The thing is that political enmity is more in India. See, if you are an opposition party, then the relationship is different. Here they may still be polite. Friends, and this thing. There it's to some extent less. They consider you as an enemy. When you're an opposition party.
Well, I would say that it's pretty antagonistic here. Especially in recent years,
right
but
now,
even more in the past.
No, but like with John McCain, right? We see people from both parties reach out. I think there are some people who make friendships across party lines.
Yeah.
That's not the norm, but we do see that happen.
Yeah. But I think it's a difference between, Vidhya, you're saying that if you say something as a politician or as a prominent person against a powerful politician, then they could potentially influence for you to lose your job. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
So there's one thing I just wanted to talk about if we have time in general.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. So, as someone who, grew up in India and lives here and who reads the news, reads what's printed in, a lot of these popular US journals, right? And even in podcasts, I feel like the picture painted of India now is, what's happening in India right now is, it's not really democracy right now in India. There is one party which is polarizing politics, and it's, and I kind of disagree a lot as someone who has friends from the minority community of India. I feel like it's kind of blown out of proportion, where people seem to think that India, the majority is kind of stepping up, and minorities aren't really given rights, which is not true. In my opinion, and in the opinion of minorities who I have friends from the minority communities in India, And for some reason in the US and in the West, the picture painted as I feel it's just trying to be, the news is trying to be sensational there, but
interesting.
I feel it's far from the truth, and it really pains me to read such articles about my country. Right,
I'm
still
sure.
I'm though I live here. I mean, I'm still an Indian. I always will be an Indian, and it's very hard to read such news. I'm just curious about what your thoughts are. You've been reading a lot of a lot of these things about India.
I'll just add to Vidya's thing before you come. It's okay?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Before this government came to power, okay, most of the ruling party people, ministers or even prime minister or chief minister, whoever is that, they will go for the Eid dinner for Muslim, when they have the Eid dinner.
Yeah.
They will go for, say, maybe Christian, church, or they will announce greetings for the Christians.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, say, Hindu festivals or Hindu temple, they will not go. They are Hindus.
Yeah.
They practice at home, but publicly they will not go. In Tamil Nadu, it's worse.
Interesting.
The government, the two major parties, they call themselves atheists. They are the people who go by science and they don't go by religion. But they will go to church to get their votes of Christians. They will, appease the Muslims and then say, I am a Muslim without that, they wear the topis, that cap, special caps. That sort of a thing they will say, and they will greet Ramadan greetings for Muslim. But when a Hindu festival comes, they will not say anything. Okay, you don't have to be a Hindu to greet a Hindu, but your subjects, you are a chief minister. Your people, majority people in your state are celebrating a festival.
Yeah.
And then you have you are required to say, okay, greet them. You may not be of the religion.
Yeah.
And they won't do. This is the thing right now in Tamil Nadu, but overall in India, sometime back, till this party came to power, but these people, they don't, they don't mind going to temples and this, that, publicly.
But is that because they didn't think that they needed to make the effort to appeal to Hindu voters, whereas they had to make the effort to appeal to...
It is not... you are alienating the Hindu voters. You don't have to appease Hindu voters to do that. The thing is that when you do that, then people start questioning.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
You are a Hindu, and then I am a Hindu. I am in a majority here, and I am celebrating a festival, and you are not talking. You are in the government. You are saying you are the leader.
I think Vidya has something to say about this.
I think the point I was trying to make is completely different. It's a lot different from this. What I'm trying to say is, I believe India is truly secular. I come from the majority religion, but that does not. But I respect all religions, and I don't think I am. I don't have anything against any of the religions. I, in fact, wish my friends when they have, they celebrate their religious festivals.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is the picture painted of India outside of India is that, minorities are not regarded. There is the government in power. I'm not, a big fan of the ruling party. I'm not a big fan of the opposition either. So I don't have any political affiliations here. But I still think that, it's unfairly, India's unfairly called out and unfairly criticized in the international media based on what I don't know, based on a few sections of society which are, which don't like the ruling government, possibly, which I think is very unfortunate, because that's not the picture I want to see painted of my country.
I wanted to answer the question you asked me about what I had perceived from stuff I had been reading, and in the last week I've been trying to look for news articles, read more about what's going on, and thinking back on what I had picked up as somebody who just reads the news from the UK and the US. And I think you're exactly right. I mean, the picture that is presented that I had picked up is that this is a moment of real extreme nationalism, that there are big religious tensions. And the thing that I find really interesting after our conversation is well, first of all, we haven't mentioned the Prime Minister at all, really. We haven't mentioned Modi at all, whereas all of the news reports are always about him, the ones that are reported outside the country. So it's very much like personal, like it's the stuff that's reported is all about the one famous individual kind of stuff. And you're right. It is presented as really the sensational kinds of stories, but also what I'm realizing from our conversation is that the state politics is so much more directly involved in your day-to-day life, and that is stuff that we never hear about abroad. We only ever hear about the big battles happening between the parties and the big personality prime minister and his debates, rather than the actual nitty-gritty of what's concerning you in your day-to-day life. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say both are important. It's not like what's happening at the center is not important to us. There've been quite a few issues, like the farmers bill that my dad mentioned. We are not farmers, but we're still interested in it. It still concerns us because the majority of our population, the farmers make a huge portion of our population. And also there was something recent about Article 370, which is actually something that only concerns the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir. But that's important to us as well. So, but as my dad mentioned, so I'm not I'm not political. I'm not a huge supporter of the ruling party, but as he mentioned, I feel what's different about this party is they're not afraid of embracing their roots, which I believe nobody should be. You shouldn't be ashamed of embracing your roots. Doesn't mean that you don't respect anybody else just because you embrace your roots, right? I think that's that's an important thing. Why be ashamed of embracing your roots just to get some votes or just to not alienate some voters? And at least, if not anything, at least they're being honest. Is my take on them. But that's all I had to say.
No, it's really interesting. Go ahead.
This is the main reason. Probably you see a lot of nationalism and a sort of religious fanaticism to a little extent there. It's basically because this society, the Hindu, they have their belief, but they accept other belief. They don't demean anybody. They accept, and they also don't want to convert anybody to their belief. They don't say, so they feel that the others are feeling that their thing is the only good religion, or their thing is superior and we have to make others convert. Whereas we are not trying to do that. This is a different way of life, not religion here. It's a way of life, because there are so many gods and so many ways, people
I just wanted to add something.
Look at religion.
I just want to add something about, because you're talking about religions, like India has different rules for different, religious sections of the society. For example, if you're a Muslim in India, you're allowed to have more than one wife, which is not legal for anybody else, people of any other religion, because, right? And for Sikhs, like, so for Hindu temples, most of the proceeds from the temples where, people, donate some money, that goes to the government. But then for Sikhs, the Gurudwaras, that money remains within the community. The government does not. So it's actually, India actually does a lot for, they try to overcompensate for, the minorities and try to make them, feel part of, which I believe a lot of people do. You ask, most of the Indians today, they'll say, it's my country over my religion. They, identify themselves as Indian first, and, Muslims or Christians or Hindus only after that.
Well,
that's something I wanted to add.
I mean, it's really it's kind of incredible for me to think of a country that's so big and with so many people, and yet so much plurality, right? You've got so many different
diversity.
languages.
Diversity is the thing. There are so many languages, 17 different big languages, so many dialects. People talk different languages, and still they are feeling as one.
Exactly.
On the top of it, and that's the beauty of this thing.
Well, that is a really beautiful thing to draw a close on. But I always like to ask people, what do you think is either the best, the worst, or the strangest thing about the system of government in your country?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah. To me, what's bizarre is when you vote, in general elections, you're not actually voting for the prime minister, right? To me, I actually find that bizarre. I mean, you should be voting for, the person who's going to lead your country. Yes. You have no idea who that person is going to be. To me, that's bizarre. And everything else, I'm not stating it because I think it's really good.
Yeah.
It is a thriving democracy. I'm very happy at, where the country is. And I really hope things, keep improving over the next few years.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's one thing you find out. Yeah, I can see that. That's weird in the UK too. Venkat, what do you think?
One is the freedom. The good thing about the democracy is freedom. We can say anything. You can buy land any part of the country. Now, including in Kashmir.
No.
Earlier, it was not possible.
Yeah, you couldn't buy it in Kashmir.
Earlier, it was not
Article
possible.
370.
Okay. So, that's one. And number two is we have military and the civilian thing. It's going on so nicely.
Yeah. As in they're separate?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you both so much. This has been incredibly interesting, and I feel like I've learnt a lot. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. Okay. We had a really great time.
Thank you for listening. This has been a re-released episode from the What Democracy Looks Like In podcast series. Listen out. We will be back very, very soon with our final episode of this season, which will be about what democracy looks like in the United States. Stay tuned.